How's everyone doing today? It's your boy JJ Domination, and we are here with an update video talking about some real life NFL news. And since I actually have time to do that kind of stuff now, I'm definitely going to be doing this a lot more depending on what the hell goes down in the league. And we are going to be talking about Antonio Brown, the star wide receiver for the Oakland Raiders. He is going to be suspended by the team, and I'm going to basically read this thing off to you, telling you guys how that came about. So it says right here that Raiders wide receiver Antonio Brown threatened to punch GM Mike Mayock during their heated exchange on Wednesday, per Ian Rappaport and Adam Schefter and those fine people who get paid to report shit like this. The incident occurred during practice, and Brown reportedly told Mayock that he would hit him in the face and then punted a ball and said, "Find me for that." Adam Schefter of ESPN says that there are people around the league that believe Oakland could suspend Brown and try to void the remaining $30.125 million in guarantees they owe him. In that case, the Raiders could look to release Antonio Brown. Wow, his run in Oakland may be short-lived, but I'm going to give my personal thoughts on this, man. I've talked about AB a couple of times on the channel, and I've sided with a lot of the things that he said, because a lot of the things that were going on with Antonio Brown were player versus player. It was never player versus, management. Like when it came to Antonio Brown's comments about Juju and Antonio Brown's comments about Big Ben. To me, I took Antonio Brown's side because I absolutely understood where he was coming from. Not that it was all justified, but you can kind of wrap your head around exactly what Antonio Brown was doing. But man, when you mess with someone who is responsible for signing your checks, it's really hard for me to side with you in that argument, man. I mean, what this guy did, threatening to punch his general manager, punted a football in frustration and said basically, "Hey bitch, find me for that." I mean, that is unacceptable, man. I don't really care who you are or what authority you may have. I don't care where your placement is in the league. That's unacceptable, and it's very disappointing, for me being an Antonio Brown fan, to have to hear this and have to report on that kind of news, because I'm a huge fan of his game. I respect him. And even when he was going at it and commenting on Big Ben and Juju, I still sided with him. I still took his word and took everything that he was saying. Even with the helmet thing, I kind of understood where he was coming from. But this is just utterly ridiculous, man. You can't go back and forth with your GM. It was going to start out as just a simple suspension. They were going to suspend him probably for a half or for a full game or something. And according to the CBA, the collective bargaining agreement in the NFL, the most amount of games that a team can suspend a player for is 4 games. So at most, the Oakland Raiders can suspend Antonio Brown for 4 games. And to put that into perspective, basically the length of a PED violation. That's as many games as, Antonio Brown can be suspended for. Now you enter this territory where you talk about potentially voiding his contract and the $30 million guaranteed, and you also enter a conversation where you talk about releasing the guy. I mean, this could get ugly very quickly. And there are people out there who drafted Antonio Brown, in the second or third round, potentially based on these risks, in deeper leagues, probably in the late first, early second. It's going to get ugly out there for Antonio Brown, man. This may not end well, and he may end up being cut by the Oakland Raiders. And then you enter this conversation of, well, do you want that noise in your organization? As great as he is, do you really want that in the organization? And then you enter this conversation of, is it really worth it? If you were to sign him, what would you give him? Would you try to pay him? Would you try to get him on a bargain? I mean, there's just a lot of variables that go into this now with Antonio Brown, and this situation is definitely getting ugly. But, leave a like down below. Basically, 1 like equals 1 prayer for the Raiders organization, because they sure as hell need it right now. And hopefully everything gets resolved with Antonio Brown and Mike Mayock. Mike Mayock has kind of been a no-nonsense guy from the very start since getting the GM job, and I love the fact that he's taking it very serious, because this could be the only GM job he ever gets unless he does good and he keeps getting hired for different positions. But hopefully you guys enjoyed, man. Peace out.